the world will always pay you what it thinks you're worth, exactly what it thinks you're worth. When I talk about sales, when I talk to my team about sales, what I've been taught about sales is everyone who thinks of sales, normally the first thing that comes to their mind is car salesman. Think of, just typical, honestly, it has a negative connotation in a lot of ways of someone who is a little bit of a sleazebag trying to sell ice to an Eskimo, all this stuff, right? They got the silver tongue. That is the idea that a lot of people get when you talk about sales, right? And I believe in a lot of ways that has been created by, people in our industry. Number one, because they try to sell something no matter what. They try to sell something no matter what happens. So when I teach sales, okay, sales at its basic core is problem solving. That's it. If you want to get things down very, very simple, sales is problem solving. At its core, your ability to communicate, your ability to find someone's issue or their problem that they're experiencing in their life and to be able to solve that problem with your product or service, that is sales. Sales is not something that's scripted. Sales is not something that's, if you're going to say this at this time and this at this time, that's all good and great, but we've all caught on to that. We all understand the game, okay? Sales is problem solving. And this is why I believe at my core that the skill set of sales will change the world. The skill set of sales will change your life and help you make the most money in the world, because my philosophy in business is, number one, the world will always pay you what it thinks you're worth. Right? If any of you guys want to take anything away, write that down. The world will always pay you what it thinks you're worth, exactly what it thinks you're worth. And you know how you're going to be worth a lot is if you can solve a lot of problems. If you can have discussions with people and solve the problems that they're experiencing in their life, then you are very, very valuable to this world. And someone who's valuable like that can solve really big issues is going to be making millions and millions of dollars, right? That's the person who deserves to be making millions of dollars because they are solving issues in the world. They are an entrepreneur who is actually making a difference. The name of my business is Alpha Influence because I try to coach everyone who joins my business to be the best version of themselves. Our motto is be great or be nothing. So you can be someone who makes a difference in this world. So you can become someone who has influence in this world. The only people who have influence are the people who deserve the influence. They have earned that influence because people value them. The amount of value you provide to the people around you is in direct correlation to how much money you're making. So if you're not making a lot of money, if you're not making a lot of sales, you need to take a hard look inside and see what kind of problems am I solving? Or are you of the more mindset of, I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to close deals. I'm trying to get your money in my pocket. If you have that mindset, you're going to lose. You might sell some people every now and then, but you're not going to be making the difference in the world, and you're not going to be making millions and millions of dollars with that kind of mindset. If you approach a mentality of sales as my job is to problem solve, then you will make a lot more money. I promise you that. I promise. Everyone you talk to has a problem. Everyone you talk to, I call, has pain in their life. And it's your job as a master communicator, as a salesperson, as a closer, to find that problem, to find the pain in the individual's life. And let's take an example of pest control, right? If there's a lot of people out there, I don't know, any of you, put in the group chat, have any of you ever sold pest control before? I'd love to know. Pest control, home security, door-to-door, solar, anything like that. Has anyone here ever done that? Nobody. Okay. All right. Awesome. Pest control is where they just start selling you stuff. Door-to-door. Okay. We got some people. My husband does roofing. Okay. There you go. Now the chats are coming in. Door-to-door sucks. Yes, it does. Yes, it absolutely does. It sucks ass, right? But let's just take an example of the door-to-door industry. When it comes to like pest control, just as an example, right? A lot of ass. There we go, Kenny. When it comes to pest control, in a lot of ways, there are some people out there who try to tell you to really push it down someone's throat, to close them no matter what. Don't leave their doorstep until you have a deal signed. Bug the shit out of them and basically just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and eventually they'll give in. That's the bullshit side of sales that we're talking. On the side of sales that we're talking here about problem solving, your main concern is to find the pain in someone's life, is to find the pain points. What are you experiencing? Are you experiencing bugs in your house? Are you having problems, outside in your yard? Is this something? Are you having rodents around your home? You're just trying to ask questions to see if this person is having pain in their life, and you just need to be good at digging those out by asking proper questions. If you ask the right questions, then you will get the right answers. Let me tell you one question that I love to ask people, love to ask almost everyone I meet with. It's this: tell me your story. Now, I don't ask. Now, notice I don't ask people, oh, tell me a little bit more about yourself. Then people start giving you this surface level. Oh, my name is so and so. I'm from here. I like to play football, and my favorite color is blue. Right, all that shit. But when you say this one thing, tell me your story. Tell me what your story's about. Well, then you start getting responses from people along the lines of like, oh, well, yeah, I grew up this way. This is how I was raised. We moved into this home. We're experiencing this in our lives because this is our story and this is what we have experienced. When you understand people's story, when you understand their experiences in their life, then you're also going to be hearing their pain and what they've been going through and why they want this problem solved. Okay, that's number one. You have to find the pain in order to be a problem solver. Number two, in sales, you have to be so good at helping the individual you're speaking to paint the picture of what I call dreams. This essentially is you're helping people understand how much different their life would be if they did not have to worry about that pain or those problems anymore. Think about that. If you were to help this person not have that problem anymore in their life, if they never had to worry about that issue because you could solve it with your product, then how much different would their life be? And if you can help them paint that picture in their life, if they can see that and understand it and communicate that to you, then they are feeling the emotions of what you're bringing to the table with your products and services. Okay. When you're bringing these products and services to the table, it's for the benefit of the person you are dealing with to help solve their problems and get them to the point in their life where they don't have to worry about these pain issues. And you can apply this same method to any product, anywhere, anytime. The only reason someone buys something is because they want it or need it. And they want it or need it because it will solve some issue or it'll solve some problem or some thing they're missing in their mind. That's the only reason someone actually will hand you their money and pay for a product, is because they see that this is something they need or want. It solves their pain. Okay. So when I talk about sales in my entire business, I tell all of my guys, throw away your script. Now, that is actually very controversial in the sales world. I say throw away your script, because your script, if you're thinking just strictly your script, if you're thinking just the words that you have been told to say by somebody else, then you have taken every emotion, every bit of character that you have out of the conversation. Every bit of character is out when you're only scripted. I want my people who work with me to understand how to communicate and how to problem solve. And that to me is sales. If we can sit down with every person we ever meet and we can help them solve some pain in their life, then we're doing a good business and we're doing a good service. And here's the most important part. If my product or service does not fit with what that client needs, if my product or service is not what that person needs in order to solve their pain or problems, then it's my duty to walk away, to tell them honestly, this is not for you. It is my duty, it is your duty to be that facilitator, that communication, if it is the wrong product or service. And the amount of respect and the amount of the amount that you will be able to provide to that person by being brutally honest with them and by having the integrity to walk away will make you more money. Because as I said before, the world will pay you what it thinks you're worth. And if you're just trying to push things down people's throats, they feel that. We communicate as human beings on a deeper level than just words. Okay? We communicate on a way deeper level. Words is just a little piece of it. This is why I want everyone who I talk to see me, to either do a Zoom call or to see me in person, because I want them to understand who I am. Our brains literally work like radios. My brain and your brains emit frequencies that our brains can pick up on. It's like radio to radio communication, but brains. This is why you pick up on people's energy. This is why you get a gut feeling about somebody without them having to even say something. This is why you can know someone's in the room even if you don't see them. If someone walks in the room and you can just feel, oh, somebody's here, because every human being emits a signal. Now, the signal you're emitting depends entirely on the energy you are emitting. If you're emitting a negative energy, an energy of I want your money, an energy of just trying to push it down your throat, just trying to make a sale just so you can make money, they will pick up on that. But if you come at them with a positive energy of I want to legitimately help you, I want to legitimately help solve your problems, I want to legitimately find the solution to what you're experiencing, and if my product or service can do that, then let's fucking do it. But if it doesn't solve your problems, then let's not do business. Because I'd rather, whether we're like, we can part ways as friends, whether we do business or what, that's easy. But I want my products or service to be solving problems. I am not in the business of making sales just to make sales. I promise every single one of you, if whatever business you go into, whatever sales job you take, if you take this mentality, you will be a top performer everywhere you go. If you master the ability to think according to what the problem is and that you are trying to solve, then the communication that you have with the client is a lot different. It's not focused on so much on like the words and the way you say it. It's just actually listening to somebody, hearing their problem. And if you as a human being hear their problem and you understand that your product can solve that issue, then I guarantee you're going to be speaking to them with a lot of passion, with a lot of urgency. You're going to be speaking to them in a completely different way that they will understand at a deeper level than just your words. They will feel it deep down that, yes, okay, this can help me. And I like to think about it like this. If you had the cure for cancer and you knew someone who had cancer, you would probably speak to them a lot different. If you were 100% certain that your product could cure their cancer, you would be speaking to them with passion. You would never give up on them. You'd be following up with them. You'd be closing the deal because you know it can solve their problem. If someone, and back to pest control, if someone's living in their house and they have bugs and they hate having bugs in their house, and you know you can get those bugs out of there, then you are going to speak with a lot more passion because you can help this family live a life without bugs in their house. And you can connect this to any product or service, whether you're selling software, business to business. Hey, my software will legitimately help your business make more money. My software will help your business, like run a lot more smoothly and make your lives easier. My products or services can help you. Or if you're a realtor, this house is the house for you and your family because this is what you and your family needed. This is what you said you want, and you're going to need to get this house. Whatever the product is, it doesn't matter. And this is why I say when you're a scripted person, you're limited to your piece of paper. You're limited to your script. But when you understand this core principle of sales at a deeper level, then that's when you can sell anything to anyone, because you can sell things to people by finding people who have the pain and problems that you can solve. And that is as simple as it needs to be. Yes, there are things you can say differently. Yes, there are things that you should and should not say that will emit a different, that will, communicate a different message. That's all important. But at the very core, at the very center of who you are and what you do It has to be based around the idea of problem solving. That to me is sales. Sales is the ability to communicate and solve problems. And if you take that mindset, then you are a lot more valuable as a human being to this world. And if you provide value to this world, then you will be paid accordingly. Guaranteed. The only way you will make millions and billions of dollars is if you solve millions and billions of dollars worth of problems. That's it. That's really the core of sales at everything. So now I want to hear your guys' questions. I love Q&A. This is my favorite time is Q&A. You know, that's just my spiel for today. So I want to talk to you guys individually, hear your questions, and see what you guys have for me. I'd love to help in any way I can.
Do you have any advice on organic outreach?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My number one thing I tell people about organic marketing is if you are reaching out to them, let me actually put it this way. Have you ever been fishing or have you ever been hunting? Either of those two.
I've been fishing once or twice before.
Now, right. So everyone here, think about this. The most effective way to catch a fish is to jump in the pond and swim after it and try and grab it, right? Or the most effective way of hunting is to go running after the deer and try and tackle it, right? No, it's not. What's the most effective way of catching a fish? What's the most effective way of getting your kill and hunting? Hopefully all you guys like hunting. Is to draw them in with the right bait. If you have the right bait, they will come to you. And that is the most effective method of marketing, especially organically. Organic marketing, my entire business, we are at almost $8 million in sales this year in Alpha Influence. We are going to crush our goal was to hit 5 million this year. It's June and we're at 8 million this year. This plaque behind me is going to quickly turn into the $10 million plaque in like 2 months. And we haven't run a single ad. We haven't run a single Facebook ad. It's all been organic marketing through this exact idea of I want to draw people in with the right bait. And the way you draw people in with the right bait is you bring them in by putting out what they want to hear, the good stuff, the thing that creates FOMO, fear of missing out. If they feel that you have something that they want or they need, hence back to the sales, they will come to you and they will be a lot more interested. I promise you another thing. I know everyone was talking here in the chat about how door-to-door sucks. Why does door-to-door suck? Because you're chasing them. You're going to their house, you're knocking on their door, interrupting their day, and they hate your ass for it. They're trying to run away from you and get you off your porch. Same thing with cold calling. Oh, I hate cold calling. By the way, you can still have an effective business doing those things. Door-to-door companies, cold calling companies are still they still make a lot of sales. But in my method, it's not as effective because people run from you. When you jump in after that fish is swimming away from you. When you chase the deer runs from you. My method is never chase, be chased.
Right.
If you are chasing your customers and how many of you get DMs on a daily basis about, oh, please join my Forex training group, or you're just getting DMs or comments of people. Yeah, and do we all hate
Forex,
it?
man, it's all Forex.
Exactly. It's always Forex or something.
I get like 5 new Forex friends every week asking
every day. Yeah, exactly. And or the comments. We've all gotten them. And guess what? We all hate it. We all hate it. Somehow they're still making sales, by the way, or they want to be doing what they're doing. But we hate it. And do you want to be known for? How do you want to build your brand? How do you want to be known as somebody who puts out the right bait? People come to you and then you help solve their issues? Or do you want to be known as a person who honestly was annoying as fuck, right? So when it comes to organic marketing, like you're saying, in my opinion, it's all about how do you draw people in? How do you create the FOMO of missing out? You can apply that method to any business or any product, whether it's you're selling the lifestyle. This is the lifestyle you could live if you were to come, join my service, right? This is the amount of money you could make if you were to come learn what I know. This is how your home could look if you were to get my service to cut your yard. This is how you wouldn't have to pay an electrical bill if you got a solar panel on your house, stuff like that, right? You're trying to put out the right bait in order to draw people in. And that, number one, will have not only the most effective sales and the most effective leads, the most warm leads, but it will build your brand and reputation long-term way better than anything else. You're more certain to grow much faster, exponentially long-term by developing a good brand, by developing a good name for yourself and who you are, by drawing people in who are the right people, by having honest conversations about your product service with the pain and dreams and problem solving. And then you're creating a lot of raving fans and your business grows exponentially after that.
Mm-hmm. How do you get people to see you like that in an everyday, like, because the way we look at closing, you can close a deal just in day-to-day life in general. How would you say you do that in a like all spectrum, generalized, just not even really monetary gain type of way?
How do you create FOMO, just like for in what you're saying, like with not monetary?
Yeah, in a generalized way. Yes, sir.
Honestly, the easiest answer to that, how do you create FOMO? What attracts you? And just start there. Well, I know exactly what draws me in. I know exactly what I would like to see. I know what I would want. So start there, because you're probably not alone. And there's gonna be a lot of people who feel the same way you do about the product or service, whatever you feel like would draw you in, and just start taking note of, oh, that caught my attention. Okay, I should model that. Oh, that actually was really cool. I saw that ad or I saw that post and that made me want to look at it. Just start there. What attracts you? And if you know what attracts you, then it's probably going to attract a lot of other people as well. And that's how you understand the FOMO. Look at your product and say, what attracts me about this product? Or what did attract me about this product? And now you know. And that's all you have to put out there, because it's what attracted you. It'll attract a lot of other people as well.
I was a family physician for a lot of years, about 13 years. And one of the things that I ran into a lot of times was that people didn't want to acknowledge what their true problem was. What kind of technique would you use for people that you kind of see, what's going on with them? You see what their pain point and problem is, but they just don't really want to acknowledge it properly. That's
a fantastic question. How do you get someone to admit they have a problem? Right?
Yeah.
You can't.
Okay.
That's the honest answer. You can't force something out of somebody. You cannot force it. If someone doesn't want their problem solved, then you will waste your time and lose money by trying to draw it out of them.
Gotcha.
People who want your help, people who want help will truly be open. And the one thing I will say about this, though, is when I teach my sales process, I talk about pain and I talk about dreams, right? But there's a first step that I always add in, and that's setting expectations. So number one, expectations. And the most important expectation you could ever set in any conversation is this: I promise to be brutally honest with you as long as you promise to be brutally honest with me. There is no, and I tell them right here, right? Every single conversation I have, I say, I will respect you enough to tell you no if this is not good. I will also be honest with you if I feel like this is what you need. But I also expect you to tell me no if you don't believe in it, if you don't think it'll help you. I want you to tell me no. I would rather have you tell me no than to tell me maybe. Because maybe is a disrespect to me and you, and we won't get anywhere. It will waste our time, and we're not going to get anywhere. So in respect for me and for you, let's agree in this conversation to be brutally honest with each other, and we will still part ways as friends no matter what. I make sure everyone I talk to, I say that almost exactly word for word. And if someone still won't talk to me, then it has now become a waste of your time and theirs. But if they are willing to be brutally honest with you and they accept that notion right at the beginning, then you're going to have a lot easier conversations. It's a lot more straight to the point. No more beating around the bush. That's the quickest way to get rid of maybe, because then someone starts bringing up all these maybes and you go, hey, hold on. It's okay if you tell me no. let's not do the maybe. Let's not do the wait on it, think on it, because I can give you everything you need to know right now. I can show you everything. We're already in the conversation. You told me maybe, but we agreed previously in this conversation that we wouldn't say maybe. I would rather you tell me no. And you're almost trying to draw a no out of them because it's either a no or a yes, right? And then you're not wasting your time. And that's the most important thing to me. You ever heard the 80-20 rule?
Yeah.
You will spend 80% of your time on just 20% of your clients who cause the most problems. And if you could find a way to get rid, hey, the book, there we go. I see that up there. If you can find a way to get rid of that 20%, then 80% of your time can be focused on other things, what you're best at, growing your business. The thing that will lose you the most money is spending the most time with the wrong people. Spending time with the wrong people is a killer to you, your life, who you want to be, and your business. Right? Don't waste your time with the wrong people. The only people you want to actually invest your time into are the people who are willing to be honest with you and themselves. Okay. And that'll save you not only a lot of time, but it'll actually make you more money. I promise you that.
Awesome. Time is money.
Amen to that, Alex. Amen to that.
There you go.
We all know Alex doesn't waste his time with the wrong people. That's why you guys are the right people.
That's right. That's right.
You have that leadership role of the team. So you hear the statement that, you're a born leader from individuals, but do you also agree that people can be groomed into being leaders? I believe internally everyone's a leader. But what would you recommend to those people who are introverted to get that natural leadership out of them?
I love that question, brother. I love that because number one, I wasn't this way. I don't know if any of you listened to my podcast that just came out with me and Brad Lee on dropping bombs. If you haven't, do me a favor and go listen to that. Brad Lee dropping bombs. The episode just came out. I talk about my story. I was actually bullied pretty heavily as a kid. I was the kid who loved to stay away from people. I have major anxiety when I get around people, even to this day, because it's almost like this trigger of thinking back to when I was bullied. For the entire life, I had no friends. I was extreme introvert. I didn't talk to anybody, right? And the number one thing that helped me get out of that mindset is when my father told me, number one, no one's coming to save you. Number two, there are people out there who need you. There are people out there who need your help. There are people out there just like me who are going through what I'm going through. And if there was one thing I was passionate about at that time, and I am still today, is I hate seeing people bullied. I hate seeing people who can't get out. That is what I am passionate about, is about helping people get out from the bottom. That's my entire business in Alpha Influence, is to help people be great or be nothing. And so I found, and my father helped me find, what I was passionate about. And passion brings out this courage that overcomes all fears and anxieties. Every time I get up on stage, when I do my events, before this actual Zoom call happened, I was feeling a little bit of anxiety, but I don't give a shit anymore. It doesn't matter because it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about anyone on here who I could have helped. And if I had pussed out and said, I can't do this, or I didn't do it, then not only did I fail me, but I failed every single one of you who I could have helped today, or anyone else out there. It's not an understanding that it's not about me, and that I am someone who can help people out there. And even if you can just help a couple people, to them, you're a leader. To them, you are their hero because you help them. Even if you only help 5 people in your life, you are a leader to those 5 people. So I agree with you 100%. There's a leader in every single one of you. Every single person, there is a fucking leader. There is this dog. There is this captain of your own fate. You're the king of your own kingdom. That is exactly who every single one of you are. But your fear gets in the way and keeps you from that. The whole idea about being successful is based on you have to have the courage to do it. It wasn't easy for anyone. The only difference between me and someone who hasn't done it, or a billionaire versus me, or anyone else who's been successful versus someone who hasn't, is that they were willing to do what the other person wasn't. The main key to success is you're willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. And if you're an introvert, dude, you know who's actually one of the biggest introverts of all time? Elon Musk. That dude is hard to listen to. When he talks, it's actually really difficult because he's so awkward. But there's one thing about him, that he had the courage to do it either way. He had the courage to still press forward and build his businesses, not because he wanted to, but because he's passionate about making a difference in this world. And his passion is about having a cleaner earth with electronic cars and going to Mars for some fucking reason. He wants to go to Mars so bad. I don't know why, but he's passionate about it. And passion trumps anxiety. Passion will get rid of your introvert and bring out the warrior in you that's going to fight no matter what. I don't care who you are. If I back you into a corner enough, then that passion will come out. So bring out that passion by finding bring out that passion by finding what you believe in and what you can wake up every single day doing and be happy with. Does that answer your question, brother?
Fuck yeah!
That's awesome.
Dude, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Wanted to know, do you have like a meditation practice or some kind of spiritual or daily ritual process that you do on a daily basis? And if so, like, what does that look like?
Absolutely. This is a fantastic question, because in my something I believe in. I believe there are some people out there who really go way overboard with their routine, their morning routines, their rituals. But what I'm saying here is they go way too overboard and make it way too complicated. What I'm going to tell you right now about my process, you're going to laugh because you think it's almost like a no-brainer. But to me, it makes the biggest difference in the world, and I've recognized that in myself. Number one, I wake up every day and I look myself in the mirror and I tell myself I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet.
Yeah.
These are my non-negotiables. These are something that I do not negotiate ever. And if I do, I cannot negotiate with myself to get out of it. I have to do it. And the way I make sure I know I will always do it is I keep it simple. And number one is I will look myself in the mirror every day and make sure I know that I believe in myself, that I am the baddest motherfucker on the planet. And it's not to say I'm better than other people. It's just to say I am who I believe I am. I am who I'm going to be. I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet. That's number one. That's all I say to myself in the mirror. Number two, I take my dogs to the park. It sounds so funny and it sounds like what? One of the things that gets me in the best mood every single day is to go to the park with my dogs, not in my backyard, to get my dogs in my truck or in my car and go to a park and play with them, because that brings a lot of happiness to me in the day. I actually don't care. I'll schedule phone calls while I'm at the park. I'll respond to text messages. I'll do that. But I love being at the park with my dogs. And so that is one of my routines I do every single day because it makes me happy. Mm-hmm. Because I love my dogs, because I love to see them happy playing. And that sets me in a good mindset throughout the day. And so number one, I look myself in the mirror and I tell myself I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet. Number two, I go to the park with my dogs. Number three, every day of my life, I check my bank. I check my money. Mm-hmm. If you aren't checking your bank account every single day, even though nothing changed, it doesn't matter. You have to know what's happening in your money. So my rule is I will not go a single day without checking my money. I'll pull up my investment accounts. I'll pull up my bank accounts and I just look at them. I just want to know what's happening. I actually feel a little bit of anxiety when we open up our bank account sometimes. We almost don't want to when we avoid it. And trust me, I've got millions of dollars pouring in, but that also means I'm spending millions of dollars on my business. And it's not always fun to see that going out. It's not always fun to look at that and go, oh boy, all right. You know, it's not, but it's a non-negotiable for me. So I have to check. So I check my bank. And then number 4 is just get some form of exercise in, even if I can't hit the gym, even if I can't do a full exercise, dude, even if it's just 10 push-ups, that counts. So when I'm traveling, if I can just make sure I get in 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, or maybe I'll do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 air squats. That's not a great workout, but it's still part of my non-negotiables that I will get my heart rate going, that I will exercise my body. And that keeps it at the forefront of my mind. And that's it. That's all I do for my routine. Sometimes I'm eating different foods. Sometimes, yes, keep it simple. Exactly. Please keep it simple. Whatever you do, keep it simple. The best way to fail yourself is to overcomplicate your life. Keep it simple, man. And that will change your life. Hopefully, does that answer your question, brother?
Thanks for that. 100%. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I've been doing some life coaching. And my story is that I had chronic pain for 15 years. And the doctors told me that there would never be a cure and that I would probably die young. And so I had the conviction within myself to find the thing that was going to heal me. And I did. And so I really wanted to, there's this pain point there. There are people out there that are struggling. They're on narcotics. They don't know what to do. And so my question is, I have 2 clients right now that I do, and I wanted to keep it small, but the problem is like, it's such an emotionally draining thing that they want to talk to you nonstop. So I'm asking, I guess, about boundaries. And so you don't create burnout, if that makes sense, because it's such an emotionally involved type of coaching. Like, how do I create those boundaries and, make sure they're getting everything they need from me, but I'm finding myself constantly talking to them all day long. So I just, does that make sense? My question,
Absolutely.
I guess.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's a fantastic question. Number 1 is be brutally honest with them.
Okay.
You can tell them, it is okay for you to tell them that they are asking you too many questions, that they're talking to you too much, that they're taking too much time. And you could phrase it differently, but it is okay for you to tell them that and set that expectation.
Yeah.
And I have to do this as well. This is probably one of the hardest things out there, especially for someone like you, because you found your passion. You really want to help them. You know you can help them, but you also have to create that balance. And you're saying that because you realize that they will drain you, right? And so I have to set that expectation for everybody by being brutally honest. And I mean that, brutally honest.
Okay.
They will appreciate your brutal honesty.
Okay.
Because brutal honesty is the only thing that will solve their problems. And it's also the only thing that will help you keep your sanity and actually help them long term.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
it's also the only thing that's going to allow you to scale up and to help more people.
Yeah.
If you're spending all your time on 2 people, how in the world are you going to have 100 clients? How in the world are you going to affect thousands of people? You're not.
Yeah, exactly.
And so your message, your ability to send that message cannot be hindered by someone who might be a little needy.
Yeah.
So in regards to how to fix that, number 1, just be brutally honest. Number 2, hire someone. Hire someone and train someone to help you manage the workload. I promise you guys, if you're struggling in your business, in anything, if you're feeling overwhelmed, it is the best thing you will ever do is to hire someone to help you manage the workload.
Okay.
And then you train them up and train them up on actually training people, anything like that. Right.
Okay.
And now that I don't know all the details of your business, but that is honestly one of the things that helped me the most manage is to hire people and train them up to take on the workload for me. Cause I have thousands of clients. And even right now, I don't know if you guys see this. Right now, this is my phone. Since we've been on this call, I've been blowing up with almost 20 text messages, 3 missed phone calls, 50 DMs on Instagram.
Wow.
It's a lot. But you know why I'm not worried about that? Because I hired someone to handle it.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
So I have someone helping me with that. And that's changed my life. It's changed my business, right? So those would be the 2 things I would tell you. You have to be brutally honest with them. And number 2, if it's really just about, they actually need the help, but you can't be in, that many places to respond to that many texts. Just hire someone and train someone to help you, because 2 of you is a lot better than 1 of you.
Yeah.
10 of you need even better.
Yeah, I was, and honestly, I mean, I'm working with Alex and I want to do that, like the closing. That's like huge for me. What I want to do is reach the masses, maybe like public speaking or a book, so that I can spend a lot of my time still doing my closing. So it's almost like I don't really want to do one-on-one, but I would love to still just put that out there to the masses while I can still do my closing job. That's really what I want to do, because I feel like I can affect more people that way.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
I get you.
Yeah.
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 So I'd recommend those two things for you.
Okay, cool. I thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the question.
Virtual assistant. You can start with a virtual assistant.
Okay, so the first 3 to 9 years of you doing business, pretty much did it have a more or less impact on who you are today?
The first few years in business have more or less of an impact on who I am today?
Yeah.
Extremely. Starting a business, being your own boss, being an entrepreneur is the most difficult and self-observing thing you will ever do. You building a business on your own will force you to look internally at yourself every single day. And if you don't, you will fail. Building a business, your business, by the way, is just an extension of you. It's just an extension of you. So if your business, and when you're starting out a business, you start to learn a lot about who you are and what your pain and weaknesses are, but you also start to understand what your strengths are. Building a business is the best way for you to understand who you are as a person than anything else, because your business is just an extension of you. The people around you are all going to be inspired by you or not, right? So absolutely, it's completely changed my life. The growth that I've had over the last few years in starting my business has been unbelievable. Best advice I'd ever give someone who's new is to learn sales. That's it. You guys are all in the good place for that. But I mean this, because every business at its definition is just people. That's all it is. Business is people. Business is the size of your business just depends on the size of how many people you've touched, how many people work for you, how many clients you have. Business equals people. And sales at its core is your ability to work with people. Your ability to sell is also your ability to work with your team, to inspire your team. It's your ability to look at people's problems and find solutions. That's business at its core. Yes, we can talk about marketing. Yes, we can talk about, customer service and HR. We can talk about we can look over your books together and look at the numbers. But at the very core of it, it's sales, it's communication. So you should invest everything you have, and this is my opinion, everything you have into being the best communicator you can be, the best closer, the very best problem solver that you could be as a newbie. Here's the easiest part of that. Because if you do that, then you'll always have a business that's up and running. No matter what happens in the economy, no matter what market crashes come, no matter what happens anywhere in the world, if you know this concept, then you have the best job security in the world. In my opinion, having a W-2 job is not job security. It's a false reality of job security. You could be fired like that. Your entire paycheck is dependent on somebody else, on your boss making the right decisions, on the company not firing you and having to downsize, or on there just not being some random ass virus like the coronavirus that sweeps over and then 10 million people lose their jobs, right? I made more money in the year of 2020 with the coronavirus than I did in any other time in my life. And it's because because my money wasn't dependent on somebody else. It was dependent on me and my ability to communicate and problem solve. And no matter what happens in this world, if you know that, then you will always be in business. You will always be able to make money. And I'm not talking small amounts of money either. Being able to communicate and sell is the key to making 6 figures for the rest of your life. So if you want to make 6 figures the rest of your life, do everything you can to master communication and sales And that is the very base pillar that you need in order to scale up. And then you can add on to that later. Start there. That's my suggestion, brother.
Okay. And what books do you recommend for people who's taking Mike's course?
Mike's course. What books would I recommend? Obviously, if you haven't read Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone, you got to read that one. If you haven't
All right, I'll
read
get on that ASAP.
what?
I was saying that I was going to get on that ASAP. You said
Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone, Think and Grow Rich like Napoleon Hill, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Those three right there, just start there. If you haven't read those three books, oh my gosh, you are missing out. You are missing out so bad. Yes, and Rich Dad Poor Dad, of course. But in regards to market prediction, those three.
But the only one I haven't read yet was the Sell or Be Sold, and that one really sounds like it could be very, very deep.
Absolutely.
And my last question for you, Jeremiah, my friend, is how would you prepare yourself throughout the day when it comes to doing business, period?
How do I prepare myself?
Yes.
He's a badass motherfucker.
Yeah, I tell myself I'm a badass motherfucker. That's actually what I do in the morning is the only thing I do to prepare. But let me just tell you one thing about the idea of being prepared. Okay. If you wait until you're ready, then you'll be waiting the rest of your life. You can never fully be prepared for what's about to come your way. You can kind of prepare, and really the only thing you can prepare is your ability and your own emotional state to be ready for anything. Just to be ready for whatever comes your way. You just have to be open to the idea that anything can happen. So if you wait till you're ready, if you wait till you're fully prepared, you'll be waiting forever because you will never, ever be fully ready. You can never be fully 100% prepared. Hell, that's true in football, right? If I take back to sports and football, yeah, we did all the practicing and we studied their film, yada, yada, yada. And guess what? Shit still happened that we were like, where did that come from? Right? Anything can happen. You will never, ever be fully prepared and ready. The only thing you can be ready for is the fact that you're not going to be ready and that anything can happen. So just be ready to be malleable. Just be ready to move with the punches, move with how you need to move. Just be a flexible business owner that kind of honestly takes it as it comes. Because you're never going to be fully ready, my brother. I wasn't. I'm still not. I'm still not ready. Doesn't matter, though. It's not up to you to be ready. It's just up to you to just have the courage to do it.
What was the biggest thing you had to actually, like you were afraid of, but you did anyway, and then bam, you realized?
The hurdles to success.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest hurdle I experienced, and I still am, I'm 25. Okay. And when I started my business, I was 22. I just finished football. And no one took me serious. And the belief I had in my own mind is no one was going to listen to me. No one was going to listen to me. Who am I? What have I accomplished to do that? Right. No one, the biggest hurdle is I felt like people wouldn't listen to me because I didn't have a big enough brand, because they would rather listen to somebody else. These big name people. Why would they listen to me when they can just go listen to Grant Cardone? Why would they listen to me when they could just go listen to Brad Lee? Why would they listen to me when they could just go listen to anybody else but me? Right? And this is the biggest limiting belief in any entrepreneur. And I'm going to tell you right now, every single one of you here who are watching this, every single person out there, there are people who you can reach that I never will. There are people who you can help that I never can. There are people out there who you can have an impact in their lives that Grant Cardone never will be able to, that Tony Robbins won't, that Alex won't, that I won't. You and who you are and your story and your personal experiences in life are going to help people that I can't. And that's actually what I tell all of my salespeople, is that you will be able to close somebody that he won't, and he'll be able to close somebody that you won't. And you have to understand that's okay, because you're working with the people who you could have helped. And so it's not about being big right off the bat. It's not about having a million people tuning in to you right now. Millions of people aren't even tuning into me, right? And yet I've been able to affect thousands of lives. When I first started, I started by helping 2 or 3 people. And then when I helped those 2 to 3 people, I focused on helping those 2 to 3 people, they became raving fans because it worked. And then those 2 to 3 people then told more people. And then we worked with those next 10 people. It has to just start with one. If you go out there and make a difference in one person's life, then that one person can tell other people about you and how you help them. And that one will turn into 2. That 2 will turn into 4. It's a compounding game in the growth of entrepreneurs. Compounding money, well, just the same as your compounding network, right? Everyone talks like money side, money compounds when you put it into interest growth, right? And it grows over time. And we talk about leveraging other people's money in order to get there, in order, yeah. Well, in building a business and building your brand as an entrepreneur, I say OPM and all that, but on this side, I say OPN, other people's networks. Because if I can make an impact and change one person's life, how many followers does that person have on Instagram? Could be 200, 300, maybe 400. Maybe they had 1,000 followers, right? Or maybe they just had some really good close friends. And because I made a really big impact in that one person will become a raving fan of what I do and how I help them. And he or she will be much more willing to tell that story to other people, to then bring other people in. So that was the biggest hurdle I experienced and still am, because there's still people out there who look at me and say, who's this guy? I ain't listening to this guy. And that's fine, because they're not my people. They're not my people. They're not my calling at this point. My calling is to help who I can help. My calling is to help those who can actually be helped, who want the help from me. And you know what? There's people who I don't have time for, or I don't know, that you do. And you'll be able to affect them if you have the courage to do so. I'm not going to be able to do it, but you can. And as long as you remember that, you'll never have to worry about not being big enough, because it will grow. It will come, right? But if you just focus on providing value to who you actually can provide value to, that's all you need, brother. And that was my biggest hurdle. I don't know if anyone here experienced the same thing.
Hey, that was awesome.
What is something in the last maybe year or 2 that you've learned that you're like, damn, I should have done this in the beginning of my business?
Ooh, that's a good question. Where do I start? Where do I start? What is something that I wish I would have done early on? So honestly, hire people. I mean it. I really do. Even if it's a VA, even if you hire someone that has a 0 base salary and they're purely commission, hire people. I tried to do everything on my own when I started out. I tried to be the closer. I tried to be the guy also handling customer service and DMing people and posting on my Instagram and building the brand and I tried to do all that. And by the way, I was doing it. And by the way, I did well at it. I was making 200, 300 grand a year. But it was the second that I hired people, even if it's a VA, like you're paying $200 a month, even if there's any way you can take something off of your load to just focus on what you are best at, you will make more money. And actually, the guy named Bedro talks about this. He says that he calls it his 95-5 rule, where really there is, of all the workload that happens in your business, there is about 5% of it or whatever it is that you are really, really, really good at. That if you spend most of your time on